Hello Aquarius friends, I'm Annie Botticelli and welcome to my video, Aquarius, April 2021 Astrology Must Knows. April is my second favorite month of the whole year, with my first favorite month being March. So if you haven't watched my March report, you definitely want to see what all the goodies are going on in that month. And a lot of those goodies actually carry over into April. So we're going to talk about what I love about April, what's different about April compared to March, why April is unique compared to the months that are coming ahead. Also, we're going to talk about which Aquarius placements are now free from the Saturn conjunctions. Saturn is moving through your sign, and there are some of you who are done with this transit for another 30 years. We'll talk about who you are, and we'll talk about who's getting targeted for the rest of the year with Saturn's stories, and we'll also give a brief look into who Jupiter is going to be focusing on this month. And I do actually have a whole separate series, so just look for my video, Jupiter in Aquarius for Aquarius, to get the lowdown of when you're going to get your Jupiter goodies if you're not included in the group that is getting touched this month. We're also going to talk about some other things very specific for Aquarius. And let's see, yes, so one admin note. I am known for my details, and you will see in this video I will go into a lot of very specific detail about what you can expect and why and what you can do with the energies. But if you want more information, definitely look at the More button underneath this video. Click that little arrow button and it will reveal a ton of links to tons of free resources that I make for you. Every month I have lots of free resources for you. And of them, top on the list, definitely go to anniehelpsyou.com, sign up for my free email newsletter. You will get not only my sweet and salty dates of every month. So basically I give you all the aspects, which ones are sweet, which ones are salty, what you can expect from them, plus a general write-up of the month, a month early delivered into your inbox. But you'll also get my 2021 Happy Scopes, which is definitely going into every month of 2021. So if you want a sneak peek into what the energies of each month are like for the whole rest of the year, then you'll get that when you sign up for my free email newsletter at anniehelpsyou.com. And there are other free goodies that you get there too. So you definitely want to do that. Okay. So now let's talk about this. So why is April one of my favorite months of the whole year? First of all, it's that we have more sweet aspects than salty ones. Talked about this in March, where we had a landslide of more sweet aspects compared to salty ones. And that sets a tone for, for a month. And we have that again in April. While there aren't as many more sweet ones compared to salty, it's definitely notable because in 2021, there are only a few months in the whole year where we have more sweet aspects than salty ones. So I'm definitely going to call those out to your attention, and April is one of those. Something else that I really like about this month, and it's one of my actual all-time favorite things about this month, is that we don't have any personal planet retrogrades. And added to that, we've got the zest of the astrological new year that started at the end of March, with all of these planets in Aries. And this is going to bring a massive amount of forward movement. As you all know, we've been stagnating and going back into the past and not having clarity and not being able to move forward. So the end of March and all of April are some of the best times of the whole year to make forward progress on very important things. Engagements. I love April for engagements, weddings, launches, financial decisions, investing of any kind, loans, paying off debt, securing a loan, buying a house, selling a house, signing contracts. April is fantastic. Now, the one caution is you just have to make sure you're not being reckless, because the Aries energies can get you to be a little bit rambunctious. But there's a lot more clarity this month, and the clarity is just so needed, because we just haven't been able to see more than one step ahead of ourselves with everything that's been going on in the world. And that has been because of the astrological transits. And so speaking of which, part of why I really love April as well is that, and I like March for the same reason, is that these months are completely free of the outer planet connections that have become our norm throughout 2020. And for January and February of 2021, we have outer planets, the ones that move slowly, making connections with each other that have not been super favorable. And those have been rocking everybody to the core, from the global level down to the individual. But we don't have those aspects in March, and we don't have those aspects in April. They're kind of in the backdrop, but they're not front and center. So we still have a relief from that energy, plus with the ambition, renewed optimism, more energy and clarity to move forward. So you've got the momentum and the ambition, and you have the clarity about what to set that towards. So it's a really great combination. Now, specifically for Aquarius placements, all of the planets moving through Aries are super favorable for you. So this zest, this momentum, all of it is kissing your Aquarius placement or placements in a fabulous way. This report is for you if Aquarius is your sun sign, if it's your moon sign, if it's your rising sign, even if if you're one of those super zealous people like I am. You know, I tend to go into excess with everything that I do, and there are some people who watch reports for their Venus and Mars sign. If you have Venus or Mars in Aquarius, this report is also for you. And if you want to know where your placements are besides your sun, if you only know your birth date, just run a free birth chart online. And when you run a free birth chart online, you'll be able to see how many placements and the degrees of those placements. And then you can use that information to use my videos in a deeper way, because I always go into degrees in some form or fashion. So there are basically 360 degrees in a circle. There are 12 signs. 360 divided by 12 is 30 degrees. So there's 30 degrees in each sign. And all of your placements are somewhere in those 30 degrees. And where they are makes a big difference when we're looking at the starry connections, because everything in astrology is mathematical. So if you get a direct line in from a mathematical connection, you're going to see more outcomes from whatever the aspects are doing, for better or worse. And I talk about all that. So if you know your degrees, you're going to be able to benefit from this more. Okay, so let's see. We'll get to that. Okay, so this Aries energy is going to be very strongly lighting up a couple of different sectors of your life. And then as the planets move into Taurus, we're going to have some other energies coming up. Okay, so your second and third houses are activated in major ways. This is going to make you want to spend money like crazy. Okay, I'm hoping that because it's a nice angle for you, that you're buying things that you want. And this is a really great month for buying things that you want. If you wanted to buy a boat, a car, a house, a computer, a phone, an air conditioning system, hurricane windows, whatever big purchases that you have to make, this is a month when some big expenditures are probably going to occur. But because of the nice placement for you, there's a good chance that those will be things that you've wanted or things that you've really been needing to do. You just have to be careful with unnecessary spending, because the zestiness could get the better of you. Air and fire go together really well, and they fuel each other. So Aries on its own gets people to just get rambunctious and sometimes, like I've mentioned, a little bit reckless. But adding to your air energy, it just flows so beautifully. So just be careful you don't spend too much on the wrong things, okay? But definitely this is a month where you've got the green light to make your big purchases. And a lot of months are not really like that. And so take advantage of that. Okay, so this might also be a time for you to ask the questions about your budget. Are you making enough money? You might be able to make more money. You might have some surprise money come your way. And you might be able to budget things in a way where you have more free money because you're moving money around. So just the topic of money and your income and your worthiness of earning money. We have storylines programmed into our being, and those storylines create our experiences. So your psychology around money might be very notably brought up at this time. So you might be able to do a lot with breaking out of a matrix of a certain belief system that kept you believing that you couldn't earn more, that you have to work too hard, etc. So those storylines can have an opportunity to change at this time, and that's very exciting. This is also a fantastic time to ask for a raise, and it's a fantastic time to get recognition for your work, and it's a fantastic time for your businesses or for starting a business. If you're trying to start a business, I love this month more than most of the other months in this whole year for starting a new business or taking your business further. It's a very, very exciting time. Okay, so something else that's coming up for you, and this is coming up in multiple areas of your chart, actually has to do with movement and travel. Okay, so the energy of traveling is going to start opening up depending on where you are in the world. There are different storylines that are going to be in different karmic situations for different localities. But many people are going to be getting up and moving and possibly even traveling this month. Okay, so, and if not, you might be making clear plans for the future to travel, where finally, like just for so long, we could not see even when we would be traveling. But if you're not traveling at this time, there's a good chance you're going to be planning a trip and that you'll have some openness to be able to do that. Since this is tax month, at least in the United States, you might also be having to deal with your taxes, but you'll have a lot of momentum, and ambition to get it done. People have more incentives to get their taxes done these days because of possibly being able to, access certain things that are going on with the COVID relief. So this, money could also come in that form or fashion, just where it comes out of the blue. Okay, let's see. Over March, April, and May, the energy for Aquarius of moving is also really strong. If you've wanted to move into a different house or to a different location, this is a fantastic time, especially the second half of March, all of April, and the first half or so, maybe first weekish, especially of May. There's a lot of clarity and a lot of movement around making a big move. If you're not moving, you likely will be feeling really rambunctious about getting your home space up to, how you want it, home repairs, additions, having a garden, sprucing up, getting new furniture, things like that. And this month is fantastic for all of that. But you will be feeling this restlessness, and the restlessness is going to be manifesting into action. And those actions can be anywhere from, okay, you're taking trips, or you're doing stuff for your house, or any other thing in your life. You could be really rambunctious about your work, but there's just going to be so much energy for you to use. So it's very exciting. Okay, let's see. One of the things that is going to happen with these energies is that in the first half of the month, there's a lot of yay, things are happening, things are going on, the opportunities are happening, and you might find yourself saying yes to a lot of things. Then as the month goes on, the second half of the month, as the energies move into Taurus, the energy is going to shift a little bit. And that's specifically also for Aquarius, because the angle that Aries planets make for you are just really great, as I've been talking about. But the angles that the Taurus planets make for you are a square. So those are points of tension or points of pressure. So one of the ways I see this manifesting for Aquarius this month is that you get excited and you take a bunch of stuff on in the first half of the month. And then when the details, or having to pay those things off, or the details of having to take care of or follow through with things you committed to, or things you signed up for, or things that you did, you're having to get into those details and that consistency of now the follow through. So you take this giant trip to a pet store, in the beginning of April, and you get your kids hamsters in an aquarium, and then by the end of the month, everything has to be all cleaned, and then you're like, oh God, why did I do that, right? It's that kind of energy. But it doesn't have to be a bad thing. It's just kind of the reality sets in more of the work it's going to take for the things that you've taken on. So that's just another caution for the first half of the month. It's totally fine to take things on, and it's a really amazing time. Just make sure you don't take on too much. And if you're taking on something that could be a titanic effort, just if it has some flexibility worked in, where you've got an extended time frame to work with it, where you can kind of ease in and out of it with some flexibility, then that's going to work really well, so that as these energies shift, you might want a little wiggle room. Okay, so I wanted to talk about who is going to be free from Saturn now, all right? So this has been a big time. Whenever outer planets, the ones that move more slowly, so basically Jupiter and beyond, the personal planets are the ones that are closer to us, the Sun, the Moon, Mercury, Venus, and Mars. And then Jupiter, and then we talk a lot about Chiron the asteroid, and Saturn and Uranus and Neptune and Pluto. Those planets take much longer to move. And when they're in a spot, they're there for a while, and they bring some pretty big themes. So this has been very hot news that for Aquarius, that Saturn and Jupiter are in your sign. So this is a very momentous time. It's a time of great change. It's a time of major crossroads. And specifically the Saturnian part of this, Saturn is known for being a stern taskmaster and can bring pressure and heaviness, but it's also the maker of diamonds, the maker of, the king or queen maker, that, it's the hard work and consistency and the plan that's followed through with that creates matter. It can infuse ideas, Aquarian ideas, into form. So it's really cool, and you might see that this year and beyond, as you've got this, the Saturn and Jupiter energies moving in your sign that your ideas are coming to life in a really big way, or they're being tested, or you're having to start new things because other things are kind of, being tested and not passing the test. But those of you within the first 6 degrees of the sign, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 degree people, so that's basically like January 20th through January 25th. Now, those of you on the 25th, that's a little bit of a dicey line because the sun doesn't move into Aquarius on the same day each year. That's why the degrees don't always correspond with the dates. But those of you who are in the first 6 degrees, 0 to 5 is the first 6 degrees, or around the 20th through the 25th, you all are done with Saturn now. Okay, so now Saturn for the rest of the year is going to be focused on everyone in the around January 26th through February 2nd. Okay, so those of you January 26th through February 2nd, or 6 to 13 degrees if you know your placements, then you're going to be in the hot seat for better or worse for the rest of the year. Okay, so that's, really, really notable. And that's going to be what it's going to be, but it is going to be heavy. And if you know that it's going on, it's helpful. I know that I've gone through so much Saturnian energy because I have it natally in my chart, a very strong Saturnian chart. And because I have all of these planets in Sag and Capricorn, when Saturn went through all of Sag, all of the Capricorn, so like for many years, it was hitting all of those placements for me. And it just kind of got done. It just got done a couple of months ago. So I'm with you and I understand and I know firsthand very recently what that means. If you've watched my work, you can kind of see the storylines of the kind of things that may go on with you. Like, I got a major publishing deal. My new book is in every Barnes & Noble and Books A Million in the United States and everywhere beyond. Like, it's literally in the physical stores. I have a crazy awesome book agent now. Like, things are gelling. That's what Saturn does. And you might see this for yourself too. But, my stepfather, who's my father that raised me, passed away. I've had other heavy difficulties as well. And that Saturn brings that edge, that heaviness, but that manifestation. So these are the kinds of storylines, the pressure, there's a lot of pressure. So that's what you've got going on. So now let's see. Let's talk about Jupiter, because Jupiter is a little bit, actually, one other thing I wanted to check really quick. Hold on. I told you that I would tell you exactly who was being focused on this month. I told you for the rest of the year. But Saturn is going to be basically 11 through 13 degrees. So that's going to be, like the first couple of days of February. Is really, really focused on you all, or if you have placements between 11 and 13 degrees, this month is going to be very, very Saturnian for you, for better or worse. Okay, so now let's point our attention to Jupiter. Jupiter has a completely different energy than Saturn. It expands rather than contract. It brings options rather than restrictions. And especially as Jupiter is moving through a sign that jibes with its nature better. See, Jupiter is the ruler of Sagittarius. And Sagittarius is a fire sign. And fire signs go better with air signs. So when Jupiter moves through air signs, it's happier than it was when it was in Capricorn and created all manner of mischief there. So now Jupiter, bringing expanded luck and benevolence and optimism, is focused this month on the 23 to 28 degree time frame. But anyone in any Aquarian placements can have wonderful things coming for you. But those of you who are like in the last week of the sign, so basically like 13, we'll say February 13th through the 20th or so, you all are getting extra Jupiter focus for better and worse now, but usually it's better. Usually it's better, okay? And if you want to see when you're going to get your Jupiter blessings, then just look for Jupiter in Aquarius for Aquarius, that video by me, Annie Botticelli, and I go through the whole year of what degrees and what birthdays are going to be touched by Jupiter, and also the kinds of things that you might see. Okay, so there's still more good news, and And something I didn't talk about with Mars, how it might be, part of making you restless and wanting to move. It's also going to heighten your creativity and anything with your children, including trying to have children. So that's definitely much expanded this month. Also, Mars is moving through fellow air sign. So you've got a Mars trine. So action is being taken to a much higher level with much higher potentials, because Mars rules action and it's making a beautiful kiss to your placement. Something else positive for Aquarius is that we're about to step into the Sagittarius-Gemini eclipse cycle again. And April is a month. It's very important to note that although we're not having an eclipse in April, we are starting to get into that eclipse season, especially towards the end of the month. 4 to 6 and sometimes more, but definitely 4 to 6 weeks before an eclipse. The eclipse is May 26th, the first one, and then there's one in June. So the deeper we get into April, the more we're getting into eclipse time. And eclipses bring radical new beginnings, tearful or bittersweet endings, dramatic experiences, unquestionable door closings, and just changes, like you feel like you just step into a completely new life. It reminds me of this movie, and this is a little spoiler if you haven't seen the Disney movie called Enchanted. It's part cartoon, but then it's not cartoon. Is that like she gets thrown into a well, basically by a wicked witch, you know how that goes, and she's in a cartoon land and she's about to get married to her true love, and then she pushes her in this well and she pops out with her big dress through a pothole into New York City. And she said, I'm going to send you to a place where there are no happy ever afters. So she sends her to New York City, which is really funny. But anyway, that always reminds me of eclipse time, where it's like she's a cartoon and she's like a princess about to get married, and then all of a sudden she like comes out of a pothole and she's in New York City. It's that type of radical change that the eclipses tend to bring. And May and June are going to be solid with that. And April is going to start to bring in the information and even, some visibility as to some kind of direction of how that might manifest. I'll talk in very much detail about where those eclipses are going to hit you in May and June, in the May and June reports. But just for now, know that there were themes that started in the middle of 2020 that were really strong in the summer. The summer for us up in the northern hemisphere, the winter for you all down under, of last year. And then towards the end of the year, like November, December, and then into January 2021, the eclipses came up again, and then they kind of faded into the backdrop, and now they're going to start coming back up again. So you'll see themes, storylines that had been prominent and then kind of faded, but have been kind of in process all along, coming back front and center. But what's very wonderful about this for Aquarius is that Sagittarius and Gemini both make beautiful angles for you. So the odds that this will be, happy changes, that even the challenges, that you'll be able to deal with them better, that there'll be some feeling like some angelic support with things that don't seem as great. It's just overall a more positive time for people with the Aquarius placements, especially compared to the last cycle of the Capricorn Cancer eclipse cycle, because you guys got shellacked with that, and that wasn't fun. So, all right. So the last thing that I want to talk about has to do with the last 10 days of April and Uranus conjunctions. Uranus is the planet of surprises, for better and worse. It's the planet of, it's got an electric nature, it makes you, when it has a prominent energy going on, it feels like you've got your fingers stuck in an electric socket for the whole time, and your hair is getting frizzy and you can't sleep. So insomnia is going to be more likely towards the end of the month. Sudden insights, sudden solutions. And there's going to be a lot of that because Uranus is going to connect first with Venus, then with Mercury, then with the Sun. So as these things come up, these jolts are going to come for better or worse. So it could be unwelcome news in love, money, any sector really. Unwelcome jolts to your physical body, unwelcome experiences, feelings of instability. But these are usually fast. They pass quickly. And, so hopefully if there's anything challenging that comes up, it will pass quickly, but you might get jostled. But you also might win a bunch of money or, have a new love person, your true love comes in, or something really, really magical comes out of the blue. But it's just kind of like a wild card, super electric charged time period, and I wanted to mention it. I know I've given you a lot of information, but if you would like even more information on what's going on in the stars and what you can expect, then definitely utilize all of my free resources. You can click under this video on the More button with the little arrow, and it will reveal all of these links that take you to all of these different resources that I have. You'll definitely want to go to anniehelpsyou.com, sign up for my free email newsletter. It's positioned right there on the front page. It'll say Dear Friend, and it'll have a space for your name and email address, and you'll get my sweet and salty list, including a detailed write-up of the month 1 month early delivered into your inbox, plus other goodies. You'll also get access to my 2021 Happy Scopes, which gives you an overview of each month of 2021. So you get a super sneak peek into all of the months ahead for 2021, and what to celebrate, what to watch out for, and how you can make lemonade in situations where there are some lemons. You can also get my Shine, my 28-day virtual coaching program, for free when you sign up for my free email newsletter. So I give lots of goodies to my email community, and you can become a part of that by going to anniehelpsyou.com and signing up there. If you want written horoscopes 1 month early, written by me, and then also other lifestyle blogs, then you can go to cozybysweetstarlight.com and check out all the goodies there. It's a beautiful, beautiful site. It's worth a peek just to check out how pretty it is. And there's lots of great information for your astrology-kissed life. If you want to have some free courses, you can go to my school, Luminous Life Multiversity, at lumelife.com, L-U-M-E. life.com. You can see my free courses there, including Unleash Your Money Magnet if you're trying to work on manifesting more money. And you can also see my paid courses there, including my crazy in-depth Becoming a Professional Astrologer Mastery course that will prepare you to do whatever you'd like to do with astrology, whether it's for your own self-development, helping your family and friends, or actually doing astrology as all are part of your profession. Also, check out my new book, Planetology, How to Align with the Natural Rhythms of the Universe, which you can find anywhere and everywhere. It's actually in the physical locations of every Barnes & Noble and Books A Million in the United States, and in many stores abroad, and everywhere online. And you can also see my other book, Radical Prayer, Transform Your Life in the World in 28 Days. And you can find that anywhere online as well. So I hope you have a wonderful month. Make sure you look at all the resources underneath the video. Click the More button. And I'll see you next month. Bye.